and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we are almost at the end of February. I cannot believe it.
Yes, I know.
I cannot believe it.
I have done none of my February goals.
Me either. I told you, I think both of my projects that were on WIP-GO, I just, all right.
Well, my WIP-GO stitching stuff I did, but my other...
Yeah.
February's not over yet. I still have a few days.
4 days.
What?
4 days.
Till Tuesday?
If you count today, 4 days.
Oh, man. So, yeah, so that's fun. But, yeah, we'll talk about it. But Eve, you're going first?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to talk about my not cross-stitch stuff first. So, I have been working on the Itty Bitty Kitty Committee quilt a little bit. I just worked on it a couple days. And that's this Missouri Star Quilt Company.
Kitties.
Little bitty kitties. And so
I think something fell off the table. But I don't know.
Maybe a little bag. There's an empty bag over there. It might have been some of this. I pulled this off of the...
I don't know. Sorry. Didn't mean to distract you.
Okay, so the rows of kitties. And I did...
Rose.
You felt like a flower rose?
Rose? Yeah, I was like, Rose? What are you...
Rows of kitties.
Rose, R-O-W-S. Sorry.
Okay, we'll
anyway,
shut up now.
and I finished the sewing together the sashing strips for the horizontal sashing. I haven't ironed them, but they look kind of like that. Oh. So this will match up on the corners. These are the cornerstones, and this will go underneath each kitty. So hopefully they'll line up.
So you have kitty block, kitty block, kitty block, like that? Kitty and square, solid square? Or is it all kitties?
Kitty and solid square.
Okay.
But this is a cornerstone in between. So this goes underneath the kitty or the block. Mm-hmm. And this goes in between.
Mm-hmm. And then you have vertical stripes. Vertical stripes.
Yeah, that's what I was in the process of sewing together.
I see.
Oh,
it's not solid white. I thought it was solid white. It's got a pattern, white on white pattern.
Yeah. So
Here, let's cover Beth. We enjoy. Cover up Beth.
I hope I didn't get them out of order.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
have
sorry.
to really look. Well, it was me. I don't know what I did. Okay, so this yellow will be here.
Here.
It's not the whole length.
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
just. I was like,
We can demonstrate.
Why do I have too many? So it'll go like that. Theoretically, they'll fit.
They will.
In my world, things don't fit.
You just stretch it, make it fit.
Oh my goodness.
That's cute.
I hope. What did I do?
Have to lay it out and puzzle it out.
I'm going to have to figure out which one was supposed to be where.
Do you know I pin, when I lay out, I pin a number to the top left.
I should have, but it's
and then I never take that pin out until the whole thing is assembled.
I should have, but even up until they were all, I was like, is this how I want it? Is this how I want it?
Yeah.
Because the colors are very similar. So,
yeah.
And then you probably visually can't see the difference, but I did a couple more rows up on top of here, so you can start seeing the lace work a little bit. I was gonna finish the 4 rows the 4 pattern repeats, but I don't know. Oh. I've had a week.
Did you figure out if you had done it wrong or not?
It didn't matter to me because I wasn't going to go back and fix it.
Okay. I went to look at mine and I couldn't remember exactly which section you were looking at. I think I'm ahead of you, but not by much.
There's holes you know, and I don't know if they're where they belong or not, but I was like, I'm not taking this to the state fair, so
So
I don't care.
I almost took that out again, but I was like, no, it's on my WIP-GO for later in the year. Whenever it pops up, I'll do it. I won't be tempted by Eve's progress.
Well, one of the hindrance to my progress is that I have the pattern on my other tablet, and I keep forgetting to charge it so that I can't open it. And I was like, I don't feel like putting that out and charging it and all. Yeah, you know, I could charge it while I'm using it, but you know, that seems like more work than I want to do.
Another person on, I guess, on Instagram or Facebook or something, posted a picture of her. She had taken her cross stitch stuff to somewhere out of town, whatever. So she had packed this bag and had all the stuff and had her pattern. And, I mean, her stitching and her bobbins and all the stuff. You know, she had showed a picture of the bag with all the stuff in it. She goes, "But I forgot my Kindle."
Oh.
Yeah, so sad. Okay, so today this was my winter cross stitch camp piece, which I will not finish by the end of this month, and I'm
Winter
okay
will
with
come
that.
next year.
I'm okay with that, you know. And that's this Burberry by Erica Michaels. I'm working on this one, and I'm stitching it on 32 count. I don't know, 32 count, some kind of linen, and the color blue ice, and I haven't worked on it in the last couple of days because I was just not feeling it. So,
But it's been very cold.
well, it's not just that. It's, I have to stitch the snowman. I'm right in here, putting the white
All that
across.
white.
And the first stitch I can't see. And it isn't
The first half of the cross stitch.
it isn't until you cross back.
Oh.
So I do the half, and then I cross back and go, well, okay, that's not right. The first one is in the wrong holes. So I have to take it out. And so it just takes me more time
Yeah.
to make sure. And it's not like I'm not being careful. It's just, you know, what the first one I can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So see how the difference in this white and that is?
Yeah.
My fabric isn't that dark
Yeah.
because I matched it to the
Oh, I
color
can see
here.
from here on your fabric. I wouldn't be able to see that either.
Yeah.
It
So,
would be hard.
you know, it's just going to take me time and perseverance. I will eventually get it done. This was my second WIP-GO for February, the sewing bee, and I'm doing the berry. I did the pin pillow
Right here.
before. Yeah.
It's pretty.
I love the pattern. And I am, the goal was to finish before the end of February. And I have 4 days, but I didn't want to work on it today. So, well, right now, I'll work on it later. So this is how far I've gotten. And I wish I could have that closer so you could see.
Well,
but there'll be a
Put it
picture.
close up.
Yeah, there'll be a picture. So this pattern, I was just talking with them about it. Over off to the side, okay, so there's a flower here and a flower here, a lot like the flowers that are there, right? Well, probably exactly like the flowers that are there. But then off to the side here, there's 2 letters, LS, and to me those don't mean anything.
Are they the initials of the person that did the model stitching?
I don't know.
Well, that's all I'm going
It doesn't say.
But
But
it doesn't give you an alphabet to do your own.
no, and so I'm I'm not doing those because they don't mean anything to me, and they don't look like they're the pillow didn't have any initials,
Yeah, that's weird.
you know. So I'm not doing the L and the S. I'm just not. And then yesterday,
You stand for lousy stitcher.
oh yeah, that would work.
Lazy stitcher.
So instead of doing the sewing bee yesterday or
Sorry,
my
phone is
snowman,
ding-donging.
I stitched on this. I'm like, I'm so close to finishing. Why aren't I doing it?
What is that?
Winterberries by Erica
Oh,
Michaels. I'm doing the skater.
Uh-huh. The cardinal. It's cute.
Yeah, it's called Ice Show. And I have a needle just sticking out.
Facecapades.
And you won't be able to see anything here. And maybe when I take a picture of it, you'll be able to see it, but I doubt it. I'm stitching the snowflakes. And so I was stitching a snowflake up here by the L, and I count, okay, from the top of the L, then, you know. So I get to the bottom of this snowflake and realize, I'm like, something's wrong. Because there's supposed to be a space in between the snowflake bottom and the E. Well, the problem is I discovered after counting and counting and counting that the top of the L is one stitch too short. So I started the snowflake too far down. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, I don't care. If it had gone over the E, maybe I'd care. But, you know, I look at it and go,
The snowflakes are just falling
and
wherever they fall.
I would have gotten more done, but while I was stitching this and working with the toile, sometimes I have this issue. When you get a knot, you know, there's a certain way that you can pull the the thread, and it'll unknot itself, right? With the toile, because of the way, the texture of it and all that, sometimes it doesn't do that. And I had a knot that it just took me forever to get it undone. And probably I would have had a whole nother snowflake done if I hadn't had that. But I finally just said, okay. But I did finish the little ice skates.
Oh, that's cute. I think that's such a cute berry.
It is. It's adorable. And I just...
Every time you look at it, you're going to be like, "Urgh."
No, I'll be proud of myself for persevering. And then the reason I didn't work on the sewing bee and Burberry, just on that, was because it was Friday, so I had to do my...
Oh, you do it every Friday? You catch up for the week every Friday?
Yeah.
Nice.
The temperature SAL by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts, designed by Kristen Ashley.
So
And
pretty.
so the February line is almost done, so I darn well better get the March area ready. I haven't yet. But we have had very weird weather.
Yeah.
And today it's supposed to be like 75, I saw.
Yeah.
Or something crazy like that. Like really warm.
And then back cold again.
back cold again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to make it pretty and varied.
So all of, you hear people saying like, aren't we supposed to be in the 70s this month? I mean, it's February. It's supposed to be 70s. And I'm like, yeah. And occasionally it has been.
It's been crazy
But
today.
yeah, it's been weird.
Well,
Highs in the
all you
50s,
people
highs
up
in the
north
70s,
and
yeah.
all across the country, that storm is like,
Yeah.
And it's been rainy
Yeah,
here.
we got a little
Snow in
taste of it.
California.
yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And
Yeah.
I hope all of you all are not too cold and not too miserable.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Our cold is unpleasant for us because we're not used to it. Unpleasant isn't exactly the word. We're just not used to it. But then I look at, the kind of snow that they're having everywhere and the ice storms and all that, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. We're still in the, like, you can wear a coat all day weather. Pretty soon we'll be in the, I need a coat in the morning, and then when I get in my car in the afternoon, I have to turn on the air conditioner, so I throw my coat in the back, and I get home and I go inside, and then the next morning I need a coat, and so I bring another coat to the car, and because I don't want to go outside.
I had three in the car.
And you just collect them until you run out, and then you're like, I don't want to go out in the cold without my coat.
So, we had a function right after Valentine's Day, and it had been, I think that was the day it was. It had been raining all day. So I wore a jacket that I have that is waterproof, But then by the time we got there,
You were
I
roasted.
didn't take it inside. Or maybe I did, but I mean, I never wore it. Maybe it was the day of our Bible study. I don't know. But we had to go. It was a Bible study. We had to go to the grocery store afterward, and I grabbed that coat because it was still kind of drizzly. I grabbed that coat. I needed it more inside.
In the grocery store. That's the worst.
Beth didn't have a jacket with her. She was freezing.
That is the worst. The worst weather on earth is in a grocery store.
I'm fine until I get over to the
The deli,
like lunch
and
meat and the produce, and that whole side of the building is freezing.
Yeah.
I was like, and I had to get a few things in, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm freezing to death. My hands are frozen.
And as I said before, I adjusted the color.
To change the range.
Range so that it would be go up to higher temperatures in the summer. Because we're never going to get to 15,
Right.
things like that. So I just adjusted it down, but I bought every thread that's included, and I'm like, I can use them down here when I'm making the flowers, because she has all that color range down
That's
here.
That's beautiful.
And
is the purple super cold?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll never be able to use this purple in the pattern.
Are there 2 additional borders around that border? Or is the border you're doing the edge of the pattern?
The border I'm doing is the edge of the pattern.
Oh, okay. That's
like a frame. And then there's these lines that are across.
Right.
But
because I was wondering if you had to do like around 2 more times, but that's just the way she pictured it with a frame on it or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really loving doing this.
It's really cool. I'm kind of jealous.
I was watching.
Let me see both the pattern and your stitching.
I was watching this. I'm doing on 14 count Ada that I dyed myself. I think it's 14 count mystery fabric. So I was watching Stitching in the Land with Good Enough, and she's in Massachusetts, I think.
Oh.
And she's doing it. She does a temperature chart every year. She's doing one that looks like a little calendar, right? Mm-hmm. And they've had some cold weather there. It's Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, it's really
and
cool.
then she had one little square in February that was bright yellow. She's like, yeah. She couldn't figure out what on earth was going on. She goes, it was a yellow day, and then back to cold.
Yeah. I remember Hannah telling me about that. And it was messing with her allergies and everything.
I just love watching her channel because she reminds me a lot of me. of just like forgetting to bring stuff and losing her train of thought of what she's talking about and just kind of being all over the place.
a friend in Arkansas who posted some pictures because all their daffodils are coming up now because it's it's getting been more. And another friend of mine posted a picture of his dogs running around in the backyard. He has a couple of Great Danes, and it was like 70 something there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I imagine it's going to get cold because they're Little Rock is right on that line where there's a sort of a weathered train that comes
Right.
up from Texas, and you're right on the line where it's the warm Gulf moisture is down here, and then the cold snowy air is up here, and you get ice storms and stuff going through town,
right.
and you get just more ice than snow in Little Rock anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I decided to do a temperature chart because people assume that it is always hot here.
Yeah.
And we don't need winter coats. It's not going to snow. Some parts of Arizona it does, but
Yeah,
not
up north
here in
it's
Phoenix. But we need jackets that we can leave in our car, and sometimes in the summer you need a jacket just because of the air conditioning.
Right. I need a restaurant shawl
And a movie theater.
and a movie shawl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's why they say what the ladies at the knit shop I go to say shawls are Arizona coats because you can cover up in them and then you can just take them off and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that I decided to do one this year because
That's
the weather
cool.
has been so weird.
Yeah, and interesting.
Yeah, and one of my physical therapists and I were talking about that. And we're like, I wonder if that means we're going to have a really hot summer or a really cold summer.
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
And I was like, it'll probably be hot. He goes, yeah, but I mean, the 20s,
It's always hot.
the 120s. He goes, what's it going to be? Are we going to get up there again? Because it has gotten here in Phoenix, it has gotten hot enough to melt the tarmac that the planes land on, and they have to they have to stop travel because they
just weren't
runway
tested.
is melty.
Well, yeah, and they just weren't ever tested at that heat, so
Yeah.
it's like. But that was right before I moved here. I think it was the year before.
No,
I moved
they've
here.
had one recently.
One recently.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Maybe not last year, maybe it was the year before, but recently.
Yeah. Well, either way, it gets ugly. After 110, you almost can't tell the difference. But
Yeah. But we do have misters and stuff like that, so just like people who live where it's really cold, you just learn to live.
yeah, it was so funny. One day in the middle of the summer, I was walking downtown, and there's a restaurant, and it had outdoor misters, and there was a little bunch of businessmen who were here at a conference, like clumped under this one area of the misters, and I walked by and I'm like, it's hot, isn't it? And they were like, oh my gosh, like we can't believe it, like how much these misters make a difference. We're like, yeah. It's so funny.
When I was driving Uber, if I had people like in the summer who were here for conferences and stuff like that, I said, that building over there that's across the street doesn't look far, don't walk. And they're like, well, we were supposed to walk over there for our conferences and stuff. I said, no, don't walk. I said, you're not used to this heat and you will collapse into a little puddle.
It's crazy.
Well, I'm done.
Are you done? Mm-hmm. All right, it's my turn. Well, this morning, was it, I think, Arne and Carlos announced that the knit-along was over, but I thought it was over at the end of February. I've posted twice, so I'm trying to get to an interesting place enough to post again, because I don't want to post the same picture, but here's my hat for the Arne and Carlos knit-along.
I love how fuzzy
I've gotten
it is.
a little further up.
It's so fuzzy.
It still will not fit me. I know it won't fit me, but and these are just tails. They're on the inside.
I think you should make them into a tassel.
But it goes all the way up the side. See, here's where I changed all the colors. But I decided to keep making it just because I'm proud of how it looks, and I'm going to block it and see kind of what size it winds up. I've sort of nominally promised it to my friend Amanda for her kiddo, because I was like, I'm looking at you, Amanda, because this is going to be too small. It needs to send it to some favored child. And my friend Donna goes, I have a child-sized head, by the way. Like, yeah, but you live in Arizona, so anyway, so I'm still working on this. It's not going to be done, but I did post. So hopefully they're having a giveaway. I never win giveaways, and I'm saying that so that I can be so wrong when I get the email that I won. They're giving away a sweater's worth of yarn for one of the other designs in the Modern Daily Knitting book that I've talked about in the past, where this pattern is. Sorry, my phone. I thought I turned my phone sound off, but I guess not. Anyway, so that's...
I did tell you that Dr. Statler's pregnant, right?
You did. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My phone is blowing
I
up.
was like, maybe I could make her a baby hat.
Don't know what's happening. Sorry, my phone was dinging. Okay, so, well, apparently I can make baby hats because I don't make hats the right size.
You can make mouse shawls. You can make baby
mouse
hats.
shawls. So this is the hat. And the other thing I've been working on is Mark's M. I got maybe a few more rows. I have been so tired when I get home from work that I just collapse. I sleep knit a lot. So I haven't done a lot. So that's my little double knitting, which I'm very proud of, but haven't done much. Oh, sorry, I'm so hot. And I haven't, I've been working a little bit on Jordan's sweater. It doesn't look any different. You know how that goes. But the other thing I've been doing more of is my little sock. Here's my second sock of the bust knitting sock. And I found something miraculous today because I have the first one and I was like, I didn't count the rows to make sure it's the same, but I don't know if you can see. Here's the finished sock and here's the second sock, and it's almost identical in striping.
How cool is that?
Which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna follow it and see, to check the length. And I can go back and count these rows. I just don't want to. What I should have done, a lot of people will take a scrap yarn and kind of just lay it between stitches every 10 rows, and then you just kind of weave it in and out of your knitting as you go, which is I'll probably do on like the sweater on the sleeves, so I don't have to count. But I didn't do that on these socks because it's just bust knitting. But it's pretty identical, so that's kind of cool. So this one's getting longer, and I've been working on it more, pulling it out of my purse more. So that's been fun, except one day I put it in my bassoon case because last week I didn't want to take my purse to rehearsal, and I put it in my bassoon case, didn't touch it at rehearsal, and then forgot to move it back into my purse, so I went to work with no knitting the other day, and I was like, that's no fun. Okay, so I have to show you a picture because it's pretty cold in Boston right now. It was like 14, feels like 4. And I texted my daughter and I was like, it looks really cold. Take care of yourself. And this is the picture she sent back. So I'll put a close-up of it on the screen here. She's wearing a hat that I made her that was a Casapinka free pattern that she did. And then what she's wearing over her face is the removable turtleneck that I made to go with her sweater. And so she sent me that picture and I was like, knitting win. And she said, #famous, #influencer. So I was like, wait a minute, I made both of those. And the hat is 100% wool. The turtleneck is wool and acrylic. But and the other day she sent me I have a photo frame that I got for Christmas that you can email photos to, and I was sitting there and I don't always know when they've been emailed, but I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I look, and there's a picture of Hannah in the practice room at school, wearing her coat and wearing that double flap, that brown hat that I made, that I sent her a few weeks ago. Wearing that, and she looks like a 1920s football player. You know those. It looks like one of those helmets. But she likes it. It's warm. So anyway, so that's just me. I've been so tired. My job. Oh my gosh. And also, hello, Rachel. One of my many wonderful bosses at work discovered our channel, and she started watching it at work, which was quite embarrassing. I'm like, oh. Anyway, but hello, Rachel. She said she was our new subscriber, so she said she loves YouTube and likes to just have stuff playing. So enjoy the crazy. You're gonna see the other side of me now. I'm like, oh, I called my boss not knit-worthy. I told her, I said, don't get me in trouble. I said he wasn't knit-worthy. She was laughing. So anyway, so I guess it's your turn.
Okay. Last week, I guess I talked about and Heaven and Nature Sing, and I guess I finished the WIP-GO goal. I think I finished it before the weekend, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I had my other WIP-GO, because my goal was 6 days, and I did that. I think, I don't know if I did it last week. Anyway, I hit the goal, and it looks the same. Big deer, lots of brown. And so then my other WIP-GO, I have the fox going for cross stitch camp, and then my WIP-GO things, and so my number 11 WIP-GO was this Monster Wonder Whale, and so I put in a lot since last Saturday is the last time I showed it or whatever, and I don't remember exactly what all I had done between then. But, so I hit the 6-day goal on this, the other day, I don't know. But so, and I still might stitch a little bit because I'm kind of in the middle of this little green frond tree thing, whatever it is. And I have a thread back here. So I might just finish that thread at some point just to finish that off. And there's like red berries or something, red somethings on this leaf. But I did the little house thing, and I did this green color in these little Quaker things, and there's some more that goes here around the red in this one, and then there's a yellow triangle that goes there. So those things I have to do next time I pick this up, whenever it is. But I'm hoping I can finish the green of this tree thing. And as you know, I was like thinking, oh look, I've done so much, I'm almost done. No, there's lots and lots and lots and lots to do still. There's 2 more boats.
Don't get happy about it.
2 more boats and all this water.
That thread is so pretty.
It really is. It's
is that the
alum,
silk?
Owl embroidery thread, and it's variegated. It's stuff they dye themselves, and then this one came with a little needle minder.
Like this one. Look at the variegation here.
Mm-hmm.
That's so pretty. Of course, you can't see what we're talking about. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
There'll be a picture, and I was
Yeah.
pointing at the little icon up on.
Near
I
the
guess it's
tail.
supposed to be a sun or.
Yeah, they're just little Quakers.
Up by the
Moved
tail,
yeah.
and you can really see the variegation of that yellow in that.
Yeah, I was
That's
really
really pretty.
happy to get these done here because you
Yeah.
can really see it. The
back of the
designs
whale
there.
is- So
Yeah,
pretty.
she's talking about the
Yeah.
back of the whale. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in that pattern. It's a beautiful pattern.
It's neat.
Yeah, and this one here by his tail has some green in the middle. I think it's that one. But there's still a lot to do on this, but it's coming along very nicely. It looks really good. Pardon all the wrinkles because I haven't ironed anything because I never do. So that's
I iron it when I'm going to FFO it.
my WIP-GO.
Not until.
So I met my second WIP goal, and all my WIP-GO things I had put a new start and an FFO. So I still haven't done the FFOs, which theoretically shouldn't take that long, but I only have 4 days. And so
It should only take you a few hours.
and the 28th, we have a concert. So we have Bible study in the morning, and then a little chunk of time in the middle, and then a concert that night. And so I kind of almost don't count that day because I can't tell myself what I'm going to do.
It's also a
but
mandatory stitch day for
yeah,
I love to stitch.
but so I don't know when I'm going to get the FFOs done. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But then the other thing I'm doing for cross stitch camp, and I'm also doing the I Love to Stitch challenge, which is 30 minutes a day. So all this stuff that I've been doing for WIP-GO and for cross stitch camp has been good for that. But yesterday, since I finished the Monster Wonder Well goal, I've been working on the fox, and sorry, my hands are so dry. I'm sticking to this horrible. I really dislike the tablecloth, and so I'm like, but I'm really.
It's like
really,
that microfiber
yeah,
feel, like all your little dry skin.
So yeah,
Don't you hate it when you go to touch your needle and your hands are so gritty
and it pulls the needle out,
pulls the thread out of your needle?
Talk about like fussing, and like dang it.
Feel like you have spider fingers.
But so I worked on last time I did this, the fox's head looked like a praying mantis or something, because it looked like it had little antennas, because of the
Remind
orangey
me
yellow.
to tell you a praying mantis story when we get to stories.
Of the ears, So I did this darker orange color, with the variegation on it, places where it's right up against the lighter orange color that's in this pattern. There are times when I'm like, wait, did I do that square? Wait, because it's so the lighter part of the variegation is like very similar to the other orange color. So there's a couple places where it's not as dark. There's some places where you can really see the difference between it's burnt orange is the color that's used. The darker orange, that's the fancy floss color, and then it's matched up against a DMC color. And so yeah, but anyway, so I finished the orange parts of the head and the white parts. So there's just black that goes in there on his nose, and black in his ears, and black in his eyes. So that's from the neck up is almost done. It's just black. And then I was doing some of the snowflakes up here on top. But I did do kind of a lot of the burnt orange part of there. And I finished this little cabin. It's all done here. And so the only thing on this side is one more tree that goes up here. And then it'll be, this part will be done.
Come here,
but
Rogue.
not this part. And so it's coming along pretty well. Again, the goal for cross stitch camp, you start something on the 1st and you finish it by the end of the month. And so yeah, I'm not going to finish this because there's still I keep thinking, oh, it's coming along really nice. I've done a lot of work, but there's this big old tail that has a lot of stitching in it. So yeah, I haven't done that.
You just keep getting all happy
I
and then
keep getting
dashing
excited and like, oh no, I'm not done. I have a lot of ways to go.
Even if I were to get this snowman done, I still have the birds over here and all the swirlies and the scarf. Yeah.
You think, oh yeah, I'm almost done. No, I'm not.
And we do this for fun.
Yeah. And the other thing I decided to do today this is Cataween Cal again. And I don't have the picture over here, but we'll put a picture of it. So I'm working on this little T-shirt again. So
I like that
I
fabric.
haven't worked on it since last Saturday, and I was looking at it going, wait, I did this with my glasses. I was like, that's not the right hole. That's not the right hole. But it's really hard to see it, you know. And the thing is that I think, you know, when I took out my measuring tape because I was trying to decide whether this was 28 count or 32 count, and this I think is 32 count from this fabric was
Came
part
in
of
the
the
kit.
kit with from Alpha Wars Embroidery, and I think it's 32 that they provide. And so I was measuring it with my measuring tape, and I was like, it's all the same count. But for some reason, like the stitches on this seem bigger than the stitching on this. And I know this is 32 count because that's, you know, I don't buy anything small. And I got this at Hobby Lobby, and they generally at that time, nowadays they have smaller counts in a couple of fabrics, but this is just like, you know, Belfast linen or something like that, and I think it's 32. And so like when I got my measuring tape out and measured it, it's the same, but this seems so tiny when I'm trying to stitch on it. It seems, you know, smaller. So I don't know if maybe it's smaller, a little smaller because of the dye, or maybe it's because of this purple color that I have a little more trouble seeing it, or whatever. But I'm like, it's really tiny. But so yeah, that's just his little T-shirt. You really can't tell. I just have today put a few stitches in it. So, but one reason that I'm hoping to get some significant work done on this, and I'm not going to finish it either, is that
But you thought you did so much.
I know this one I didn't. I was like, oh, where am I? But the reason I want to get some good progress on this is because of my FFO goals for WIP-GO are this little mouse, squirrel, I keep calling him mouse, squirrel's night out little pendant thing, and the finishing on it shouldn't be that difficult, but I just, you know, taking the time, I should say, to do it is, you know, because I'm like, well, I need to stitch on the fox because I have to finish it. But wait, I have to do this other stuff, you know. So, but and then the other FFO goal is a couple of other patterns from stitching. This is from Stitching with the Housewives, and so I have two that are finished that are my FFO goals, and they're also Halloween patterns on this fabric. And so I was thinking I can put all three of them together, and I had looked, I need to look among my finishing stuff, and I haven't, but somewhere where I want to put all three of them together. And I thought last week I had glanced at my finishing things, and I have in there a hinged, it looks like a shutter on the outside, and it opens up, and there's three sections there that have like chalkboard finish stuff in them, and that I got at the Target dollar spot some time ago. And I thought, well, that would be really good because it's got three panels in there, and you could put I could put the three Halloween things in there. But then I looked at it again, and the little doors that open up I think are too narrow for these Halloween patterns. I think the Halloween patterns are just a little bit, you know, too wide to look really good on those. The middle part of that triptych thing is nice and wide, but the two little doors panels are pretty narrow. So I don't think it would look good on there. I do have, you know, the thing that I have a lot of chalkboard things, and the thing that's easy about that's nice about them is that they're black. And so the Halloween patterns with this fabric would look good on them, I think. Mm-hmm. But so I do have one, like kind of a rectangular chalkboard piece, whatever, that I could put all three of them on there, like, you know, they were like in different levels or whatever, you know, they would look good on that, I think. But I want to look at all my other finishing things to see if I've got something that would work better or whatever. So I need to like get out there and move things around, and I just haven't done that. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's going to be a failure this month.
It is. This, and last year I did WIP-GO also, and February was the only month where I didn't meet my goals because I don't know if it's because it's a short month or because I was
you're missing
busy
3 days.
Yeah, that
or 2 or 3 days more.
I didn't get my winter cross stitch camp thing done, and last year because it was relatively small, and I got it done and everything. But this year, other than that, my WIP-GO goals were.
Well, I just can't believe that it was
missed.
It's already like the end of the month where you first said, "This is what I'm doing in February."
Yeah.
Starting it on February 1. I'm like, wait, that was a week ago.
Yeah.
I've been derailed by vision issues and by paperwork issues.
Yeah.
I've just been derailed by overly ambitious things.
Yeah.
And the other thing there was one chart that's a market exclusive, which means I think that you have to pre-order it through market, and you can't wait till they come back and order things from, after market. I think it's something you have to pre-order, and so I thought I was going to get it, but I don't know if I'm going to or not, because I think Friday was everybody's pre-order deadline for market, because market is like the 1st of March or the beginning of March. I don't know. Maybe the first weekend of March.
Stitch New England's is today.
So
you could order by today.
But I think it's Plum Street that had the pink house that everybody was doing. But there's one I think it's called This I Know is the name of the chart. But it says Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, and it's got a little church on there. And it's really pretty, and a whole bunch of sheep. And that's really pretty. And I commented on the picture of the chart that I think it's Plum Street Samplers, Paulette Stewart, but she had posted this picture of the chart, and and so I was telling her that my cousin, a cousin of mine, had a lot of health issues and insurance issues, and just had been through the ringer, and I was thinking, it would be nice if I did some kind of cross stitch pattern for her, something, and that Jesus Loves Me, This I Know pattern came up, and I thought that would be really nice, and so I want to jump on that. I just haven't done it yet. But I thought that would be really nice. So yeah, I've been meaning to sort of look at all the. I've been making my way little by little through the market stuff. There's a video that I've been watching. It's the girls. The girl's name I think is Mel, but it's C Zook. Stitching or something like that. It's her site. But so she's done a very long video about all the market stuff, and so I'm sort of like been watching that in chunks. I think I fell asleep during part of it, so I missed. So there's a little chunk in there that I haven't missed, that I haven't gotten. It's all alphabetical. So there's like I was like, oh wait, that part of the alphabet I didn't get. So I don't think there's anything that I've been jumping up and down about except this one pattern. So I need to look at it and look at it more while I'm awake, But yeah, so I think that's me.
That's you. Oh, I just messed this whole thing up. This whole section.
Isn't that the way it always is?
Well, fortunately, I have my it's a 14 count repeat on this pattern, and I have them all marked with markers, so I know that I only have to go back that many stitches if I mess something up.
So
really
on last Saturday, Beth and I went to a women's ministry church function called Galentine's, gals.
Oh yeah, I wanted to go to that, but I was at John Way. Yeah.
And it was a painting night, and I did this. It was so much fun. They had mocktails, and they had a chocolate fountain, and charcuterie.
And a charcuterie board,
Charcuterie board.
board.
It took up 3 tables.
They had olives that were, I swear, this big.
Shut up.
This big.
Huge.
Giant olives. I was like, oh, look at those olives. Oh my God.
That's why you painted olives?
And I didn't want to. I didn't want to do a flower at all, and I ended up doing this flower that I hate.
Why?
Why do I hate it?
No, why did you not want to do a flower? And then why did you do a flower if you did not want to do a flower?
They had it was one of those where they have the girl that was leading it was, she's a painter.
It matches your shirt though.
And and so she, the model that we were looking at was, had a green background, and that so she was gave us a few pointers about like how to do the one she had there was, I think, like a rose. She had a couple of them. One was a rose, I think, or a tulip or something, and and the other was some other kind of flower. But so it was a red flower on this green background, and there's a little bit of black, and so she was giving instructions on like how to do the background and how to do the leaves.
I think what she wanted was something that was simple for people who don't paint to be able to try to do something. There were some beautiful paintings. I mean, I was like, wow.
Mom did something similar to that, right? She's some kind of painting club. Yeah, that it was a really nice little like flower basket or something like that.
That wasn't a painting club. I signed her up for a painting class where I worked. And she and I went together, and she did that there.
Yeah,
and it was so pretty.
That was good. Yeah.
So I was really surprised because what I painted was, I've been looking at, somebody had posted a picture, and I thought, oh, that's really cute. They're called sea slugs. They don't look like much.
She's going to put a picture here of what sea slug.
Sea slug.
Seashore.
I can't say that word.
Like a seashore.
But they don't look like that.
they do kind of. I got their
You're
faces.
so mean. And you want to be my art teacher. Jeez, Eve.
Their faces. What's interesting about them is they look like sheep. They have this odd sort of sheep-shaped, cow-shaped faces, and little I don't know if they're eyes, but little black dots that look like eyes, and little pinky dots that look like a nose, nostrils, and they have like these little antennae that look like ears or horns or something.
Sorry.
And then their bodies have like these green fronds, and actually they eat. What I was reading about those, they eat algae, and they eat so much algae that they photosynthesize like plants, but they're animals. They're amoebas or slugs or whatever. But so anyway, so I did one.
They're actually very cute,
but it came out very small. So I did a whole bunch of them.
I was like, why are you making that so small?
It's like the little kids in elementary school. Fill the paper.
Oh man,
I always make things very tiny.
I used to go to my son's school and do various art projects in each classroom. And for one of those projects, it was
like sea slugs of shame.
Every single person in the school needed to paint on a tile. And some of them wanted to draw it first, and they just kept drawing it and erasing it and drawing it and erasing it. I'm like, no, you need to actually put paint on it. And don't worry about it being perfect. It's not going to be perfect, right? And you know who did the best were the people in the contained classroom. People with the disabilities, because they didn't overthink it.
Yeah.
It needed to be something Southwest, I think.
Yeah.
And I made all the teachers do one too, and they're like, no. I'm like, yes, you.
That's funny.
And then I had to fire all of them. I was there a long time.
Oh, you mean fire the squares?
Yeah.
Not fire the teachers.
And then
For a second, I thought you said you were going to fire
we
the
took
teachers.
all of those tiles that I made and they put them on the wall in the courtroom. In
Yeah.
the courtyard.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know that
I would have loved to do that. So I did a class at this place called Burst of Butterflies, which I don't even know if it exists anymore.
I get
emails from
so
them.
much fun.
It is fun.
I
We should do
get
that.
emails from
And,
them on my promotions thing.
I did this painting because usually I've done pottery with pottery painting with them, but I decided to do a painting, and it was I think I went all by myself, or was Hannah with me
I think I was with you.
when I did the chicken?
Mm-hmm.
No, you weren't with me.
I went there a couple times.
Well, you went there, but
Yeah.
you weren't with me the day I did the chicken because I think it was only Hannah. Because I remember the reason I think it was only Hannah was that I remembered her. We had to make a decision about a summer program like right then that day.
I love that
But-
chicken.
But it basically was like just paper instructions, and told you paint the background like this, then draw rectangles and a big shape and this big shape and that big shape. It told you what shapes to do and in what order with the acrylic paints, and it came out really well.
It's
It's
cute.
very cute. And it was just like following almost like a paint by number, but you weren't. I think it gave you a template to trace. I think it did give you like a basic shapes template to trace onto the if I remember right. It gives you tracing paper and you draw on it and it transfers it onto the
I
canvas.
took my group to Burst of Butterflies to let them paint a little ceramic within a certain price range.
Uh-huh.
And they had so much fun, and the ladies there were so sweet. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know if the one where I went, which was down in
Downtown Chandler.
downtown Chandler, I don't think that one exists anymore. But anyway, it was fun. So I was kind of sad I couldn't go to that party.
Yeah, I used to go to
That's what you
a
get
place
for having a
called
job.
the Painted Pig.
Joel.
Yeah, there in Little Rock, and it was the same kind of thing.
Did they do canvases or just pottery?
Well, when I was there, it was just pottery, but they also have like mosaics. Like you can put mosaic tiles on there, and and you have the grout and stuff and all that.
Oh, like making like a mosaic tabletop or something.
Yeah,
That's fun.
and so they have different shapes you can choose, and you can make mosaics. I think I did one, but I don't know what I did with it. I think I don't know, give it to Goodwill or something when I moved out here, because I wasn't real happy with it. I was like,
I think As You Wish only does pottery.
yeah,
Right.
But a friend of mine did. She did some tiles. I don't remember what she was doing them for, but they were very like geometric things, and she was like very carefully drawing. It's like, drawing these lines and I guess when she was painting them, she had some hang up about the color that they were coming out, and I was like, that's not the color that they're going to be. When you fire them, they're going to be brighter or whatever, But so I don't know what she was referring to, but she was saying something about, like it not being exactly the color she wanted or something like that. Because
that's the thing with pottery, you have to use your imagination. And,
because
and look at those little samples.
On the wall, they have like
how it
print fired little tiles of all the different colors, so you can look up there and say, okay, well, this is the color I want for this, and that's the color I want for that. And so they're not going to look like that when you're painting in bisque before they're fired. And so, but I think that's what she was getting at, that she couldn't get the colors exactly the way she wanted or something like that. I don't know. But I mean, it looked very nice. But the one thing I really liked there, that I was really impressed with, was this one woman it was a huge bowl like this big, and she was painting hydrangeas on there, and it was very, very detailed and intricate. But she was really, really good, and I was totally intimidated because I was over there. You know, I went there pretty often, and
you went a lot.
And I got you know, better at you know, whatever I was doing. But when I first went there, I was very intimidated. But I made like ornaments for everybody. So for all of our family, for my parents and for Naomi's family and for Eve and Robert, and just like you know, and some ornaments for myself that I did just for fun, and I made some little coasters that we have here at the house. I made some with the southwestern designs, and some I made a set of fruit, like, you know, cherries and blueberries and whatever, and just all kinds of stuff, you know, and like, you know, there people would come in there all the time like, oh, I can't draw, I can't paint, you know, because you could hire someone to make something, you know, you could go over there and order something and have someone paint something for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a few designs. They had some designs, and like, so if you wanted, you know, well, like that plate that I got up there that has the poinsettia on it.
Yeah.
That one they did.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, I just had them. I just told them what I wanted or whatever I think, or I don't think they had that one already done. But so you could have, you know, pick something and have them do it, and then you could give it, like, if some people would do that, to give it to someone, like I did for Mom. But so they had, you know, this booklet you could look through and say, oh, I want that picture. I mean, that item, something like that. And so they had some artists employed there, some girls that would do these pictures for you. And so you would get people in there all the time that said, oh, I can't paint, I can't draw, I can't do it. You know, I'm like, you know, none of us can. Just sit down and do it. You know, it's not going to be like Rembrandt did it, but, you know, it's your work.
It's very intimidating sometimes. Yeah.
And so,
well,
you know, and that's...
look at, what is she called? What is her name? Grandma Moses, who didn't start painting until she was elderly, which is why they call her that. And her work, you know, very simplistic drawings.
Primitive, yeah.
But beautiful and very well liked at even now. And one of the things that I used to tell my my people in my class there was, don't worry about how other people see things or how other people do things. I said there was this, and I told them about Pollock, and I showed them the paintings. I said, this guy made a lot of money, and all he did was throw paint at the canvas. You know, but that was what he did, and he didn't care what other people thought.
Right.
And so they felt more free to attempt stuff.
Well, it's like people say, oh, I don't know, I could never knit. I'm like, it's just practice. It's just, you just...
And one of my
That's why I like yarn, because you can unravel it and start, you know, and try it again. And it doesn't hurt anything. You don't waste anything.
One of my girls was a very... it's not right to say low functioning, because she wasn't, but she couldn't draw things. She knew what she wanted, but she couldn't, like, draw it. And when she would paint, she would just paint in circles. And so what I used to do with them is say, you know, let them, what do you want to draw? And then we would look at pictures to give them a reference of something, right? And for her, I remember she came in and she said, I want to do a flower. And then she picked a flower. And what I did was I drew it on the canvas, and I used masking tape to tape off the flower. And then I said, what color do you want in the background? And she said, and so I said, okay, have at it. And she did her little swirly thing all over the background. And then I took the tape off the flower and put the tape on the background, and I said, what color is your flower? She says, red. And it came out looking like a flower.
Will you do that for me?
No, because it's very, very time consuming. And I did something similar.
I like how she says no, because not because I don't need it, but because it's too time consuming.
So there was another young lady that at that time I said, a lot of people used to study old masters, and they would try to paint their artwork to learn how to paint. And so we were doing that, and she picked a painting by Southwest painter.
George O'Keeffe?
Yes, I think so. But it was a seascape. Now she was another one that couldn't. She was another one that could not. She would just slap paint on a canvas, and it just looked like mud. So I used to just like tape off part of the canvas, and it would just be a design. But for this one, I did the same thing. I just said, okay, use this color for the sky, and I taped a circle down for it had a sun, but it was this very different colors that she chose. And I did the same sort of thing, just blocked off parts of it, and she would just paint on what was available. And it came out so beautiful and looked a lot like the original painting. And I remember my boss, the flower, he didn't like it at all. And I said,
why?
Not everybody's work is a masterpiece. This is very, very good for her.
Yeah.
And we took it to the state fair. All of them put something in the state fair. And hers was very well liked.
Yeah.
I think she got some kind of ribbon on it. And then somebody bought it.
Wow.
And I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And when you tell people this was done by somebody with a disability, it kind of makes it even more beautiful.
I still have the one that I bought.
That was the swirly girl.
Yeah, I love that painting. And it's just abstract. It's just colors. And I was walking through your office, and I was like, I want that. I remember.
Yeah, we would sell their artwork. And
loved it.
They wouldn't make a lot of money, but they were so happy when they'd get a paycheck.
I remember one time before I moved out here, that Mark used to work, I don't know, somewhere. I think it was in Scottsdale or something. But so the kids were little, and we went to, I don't know if we were going to meet him for lunch, or we were going to, I don't know,
when
something.
he was at the CVB.
But so we went to eat breakfast, I think, at some little coffee shop there, and there were paintings on the walls from various from local artists or something like that. And there was one painting that someone had done that was just like separate lines of different colors or whatever. It was, a big canvas with all these lines of color on it. And, I had just noticed that. And then later on this was when Hannah was still very young, and she, she liked to paint. And one of the paintings she did, I think Eve had given her a set of acrylic paints. And so she was just kind of, exploring with it, whatever. And she just made this painting that had all these lines of color, and I thought, that looks exactly like the one hanging in the restaurant.
Yep. I think she went home and did it. I think if I remember that. Yeah, she I still have some. She did a popcorn.
Yeah.
a popcorn box.
Yeah.
You know, those red and white striped popcorn boxes.
Uh-huh.
We used to buy her little canvases, and she'd paint a lot.
Yeah, I have somewhere, and I don't know where
I wish she would still do it.
put it.
She draws. She has really cool cartoon skills
Yeah.
right now. They're like that poster we have of Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
So adorable.
But when I was in the hospital, I had her make a painting for me, because at the hospital they had this thing called they had this human kindness campaign thing, and I guess it was a plastic cup that water cup or whatever
it
that
was
I had
on their cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the cup said, something about, human kindness on there. And it was a picture of a person carrying a cat through the snow or something. And so I told Hannah, I want that picture on a little, drawing or whatever. And so
and you had a verse you wanted with it, I think.
Yeah, there was a verse, a saying.
God.
No, there was a saying called "Hush, God is in it." It's something we had talked about at Family Life. This man this woman had that was the phrase she used all the time when she was, I guess, when she was dying. Her son was upset or whatever, and she said that, "Hush, God is in it," and I had her do that for me.
Yeah. She's got some. I don't know. She has a really innate, she's always drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And she stopped painting. I don't know. She kind of didn't like. I guess because she wanted the paints to act the way her pens and pencils did, and because it's so different, I think she just kind of abandoned that a little bit. But that poster that she made about Calvin and Hobbes, she did on her iPad. With the iPad pen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it'll do paint watercolor. That it's got a watercolor effect in the background. It's so cute.
I bought
I love it.
I bought one of those pens to work with this so that I could work with draw and paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it a couple of times, and I was like, not feeling it.
She loves hers. She uses it also for music and stuff like
But
that.
I don't sit around with this on my lap.
Right. Right.
I haven't actually, until I made that flower, I hadn't painted in ages.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really need to
Stretch those muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the music thing because I've had an issue where about seeing music very clearly, and for orchestra it's a weird thing because your music is basically at arm's length, and I for a while, I usually only wear my glasses. I'm supposed to wear them all the time, theoretically, but I've for the longest time I've only worn them for specific things. Like when I'm stitching, I wear them, and when I started working full time, I would wear them at the computer, and I would wear them in orchestra. And then, at a certain point, it got to where, because, I think I've talked about this before, how in orchestra, I am, these are bifocals, transition bifocals. But I was hesitant to get them because everybody I knew, once you get to the point where you have to wear bifocals, you end up getting two pairs of glasses. So one single vision glasses for the music, for reading the music, and you can't necessarily see the conductor. It depends on your prescription. But so you have one pair that are bifocals for your everyday life, but then you have to switch out your glasses to these single vision glasses because you can't wear bifocals with the music. Because of your eyes have to roll down the page because you can't really move your head. And so you can't have your focus changing, between the distance focus and nearby focus, whatever. So anyway, so for a while I used the single vision glasses in rehearsal. And then after a while I was like, I really can't see, in the middle of the staff. is that a B or a G or a D or whatever, you know? And so I in frustration, and it kind of depends on the music too, because some music is very tiny and some music is very big and all that. And in frustration, I would just like take my glasses off and read the music, you know, without them. And I could do that, and it was sometimes even better, you know, and better in focus. But it felt weird because I felt like I should be wearing glasses. I should have something on, you know, and it was not quite perfect all the time. And so ever since then, I've been struggling with that. Like, you know, and one of my eye doctors said something about how that, I don't know, because it's just like not quite, you know, I don't really need them, you know. It's somehow it's clearer, you know.
Come out your scissors.
Yeah. So I forgot the point I was going to make.
You were talking about the iPad,
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah. So that's what it was.
Get back on track. The train derailed.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I was wondering if something like that, if I had it, all the music on the iPad, if I could make it larger and be able, you know, to see it.
Oh, ask Hannah about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Because
I
you
don't
have
know what
to.
the, yeah.
There's a particular program
Yeah.
in which you put the PDF,
Uh-huh.
and then I don't know how, you know, if you can set it to
A different
be
size or whatever.
bigger.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can, and then you have to
Yeah.
be able to drive it with your foot.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the pedal. So you have to have the iPad, and you have to have the pedal,
Uh-huh.
and then
Yeah, 'cause-
you have to have the pencil if you want to mark anything.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah, because
iPad.
I know, you know, some people that are in the Arkansas Symphony. There's a few people that use that sort of that kind of device when they're playing, and I've seen, of course, you know, seeing a lot of like Hannah, a lot of the videos of, you know, people playing that have that that device now, and so yeah, I was thinking about that, like,
Yeah.
oh, and I would tell you, I had a call from the dermatologist about, you know, the 2 biopsies that I had, and of course my this facial biopsy that's coming up, and I was kind of wanting to do. They did call me to tell me that my ear, the spot on my ear, is precancerous, so they want to remove, you know, do surgery and kind of remove it, I guess. And I knew that I'm supposed to have a excision biopsy on my face. And so I had told the guy when they first were, you know, when he was talking about it, I said, well, you know, if I could do it after the 28th, because I have a concert on the 28th and I don't want to have this, you know, thing on my face. And so when I was talking to the girl from the dermatologist the other day, she was saying, first of all, I had to have, I guess, 2 separate procedures so my insurance will cover them. The ear one, I don't really care about. It's like in the middle, on the Ides of March, on the 15th. but the facial one, is going to be done by this other girl, and it'll be in the end of March. And after I had scheduled it, then I got to thinking about the foray on the 1st and 2nd. So I don't think that it's gonna, you know, be painful or anything like that. It's on the surface, and
Might
you know,
be painful to play. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of don't think that. Like Eve was pointing out, this is the side of my face that I really can't feel well. You know, it's kind of numb, and so I don't know that it'll be, you know,
bother you.
a problem. Yeah, because like I said, you know, I had this little like kind of scratch. I don't know if it's a paper cut or cat scratch or whatever, but I didn't even know that it had happened.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't feel it at all. I just saw it in the mirror. I was like, oh, look at that. And, you know, because this is the side of my face that is kind of part of it, an area of my face is kind of, you know, like light Novocaine numb.
Yeah.
You know, and so...
Oh yeah, we have that gig. That'll be
yeah,
fun.
I had forgotten about that gig, and so, but it's scheduled for I think the 28th or 29th or something like that. It's a Wednesday, the 29th, I guess. But yeah, I'm like, oh,
There's never any good time.
yeah, yeah.
There's never a good time.
Because we have a concert come after after the one on the 28th, but I couldn't remember
I think
the date.
it's in April.
Yeah.
Later in April.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it's like being an athlete, you have to
Plan your, yeah, I know.
plan
This
your
snowman
procedures.
doesn't look very big, but he's very big.
That's the curse of
That's
the
like-
snowman. Again,
Yeah.
I will never
Well,
stitch a snowman because both of you suffer with your snowman because
Yeah,
it
that
looks
snowman that I did, it's a Teresa Kogut design. It was a freebie.
It's beautiful.
Like something about, what is it? Hold close the ones you love. It's like, I think is the name of it. But it's a huge snowman. It's huge. And
You're
it's
just
like
like,
stitching in the snow forever. Back.
I'm just like, I can't do that. That's worse than stockinette C.
Well, when I was at Stitch-a-Nanigans, I had this. It's on my FFO list, but it's a penguin that is going to, I guess, to mail something, and in the actual cross stitch pattern, the envelope, the writing on the envelope, who it's to or whatever, it says to, and then there's just like random lines, so it's not a real name or anything. So I put to Santa on there, so that he's carrying this little letter to Santa, and he's got a little scarf that's blowing back in the wind that says Merry Christmas, and there's a little, like, I guess there are French knots or something that were falling down, supposed to be the snow falling, and then like a whole bunch of snow on the bottom. And so I think I had done a lot of the upper part, and I was just doing snow at Stitch-a-Nanigans, because I thought, okay, I can just do snow, it's not a problem. But then I was doing it forever. It's like snow and more snow, more snow. And somebody said, you don't have to do all of the snow. You can leave some of it out. But I did all of it because I'm a rule follower.
Because you're a tree trunk.
I'm a tree trunk. But yeah, but I did all that. I did have it finished at the retreat. So it was, yeah.
I want to go
But
on
it was
a
a
knitting
lot of
retreat.
Huh?
I want to go on a knitting retreat. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I saw.
Well, one of my table mates at Stitch-a-Nanigans, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she knew about Tempe Yarn and Fiber
Oh yeah.
because she went there while we were there.
Yeah, what I should do.
And she knit, and she did only knitting, I think.
Oh.
She and her friend there at the table at Stitch-a-Nanigans. Yeah.
I also want to go fishing. I got an email the other day about fishing trips through Arizona Fly Shop. It's probably already too late. They're probably already full, but there were some like Montana, $4,000, and but there were two. One in northern Arizona, over near Greer, and then one over in the San Juan River in New Mexico, near Durango area.
Mm-hmm.
Durango and what's that town? Farmington,
Oh,
that
yeah.
corner.
Mm-hmm.
The San Juan River's right there. It's gorgeous. Oh, that's my new goal. Anyway, I was looking at one of those. I'm like, I want to go so badly. I don't know when or how, but so many things.
Yeah, they're doing Stitch-a-Nanigans again this year, but it's in Las Vegas, and yeah. I really
No interest.
have no
At
interest
least
in
for
going
me.
to Las Vegas, but also just it's logistically
Yeah.
pretty much impossible.
It's one thing when it's right in
Financially.
town. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that the first Stitch-a-Nanigans was downtown Chandler or whatever. So
Yeah, that's fun.
yeah, but
Arnie and
But-
Carlos just got done with a knitting cruise up the coast of Norway.
yeah.
I want to go on that.
Oh, it reminds me. I saw 2 movies yesterday. I watched on Netflix, I guess, that were like based on a true story or whatever. And but one of them, there was a mystery thing, but they there were these guys that came to this little island. But anyway, they were supposing they were from Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a really interesting story because the true story that it's based on, I guess, was some kind of mystery of these three men that went missing from this like island with a lighthouse. You know, they were the three guys that were supposed to maintain this lighthouse, and they disappeared without a trace.
Oh, wow.
And so I guess nobody knows, you know, why they disappeared, how they disappeared, and so I guess this movie was one.
somebody making it up.
Somebody's saying, you know, maybe this is what could have happened or whatever.
Your
Her iPad is
tablet
dead.
died.
TV go dark.
That's the trouble with having electronic things and not a paper pattern. But,
a lot of times I put it into the tablet, but I also print it out because you can't. It's very hard for me to take it with me if it's on the tablet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Sometimes I print them and I print like the page that I'm on. I can follow the pattern from this repeat over here just to get a little feel.
But the last time I tried to print from my pattern, it kept saying printer already in use.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Okay, so printer woes. So all I've been doing.
Rogue, come over here, baby.
Rogue. Don't bark. All I've been doing is work.
she needs ears.
Hi, doggy. All I've been doing is working. And part of my job right now as interim executive assistant is getting ready for our board meeting. And everything's fine. I mean, it's a little stressful, but I'm planning everything out. I have a don't forget list. I'm like, my goal is to be bored on Monday and not be scrambling for anything. I think I have attained that. I mean, I do have to go to certain places and pick some stuff up, but I don't have to, but everything's in order. Everything's already, I know everything's happening. I've got it all planned out. So I think everything's gonna be good. But it's just been a little crazy. But one of our copiers the other day, a colleague of mine was wanting to print. It was like late in the day. It was like 4:30, and a lot of people out of the office around that time. So there wasn't very many of us, and so where my desk is, like I'm facing my computer, and the big copier is right to my right. Just like there's a big pillar next to me, and then the copier is on the other side of that. So I can actually, when I print something, I can kind of reach through the space to the feed, you know, where it feeds out and grab my copy. That's how close I am to it. So I hear it going, wah, rah, 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 right? And I look, and there's a stack this high of 11 by 17 paper. And I'm like, what is that? You know, it's none of my business. And all of a sudden, the copier goes, ah, and it makes this horrible sound, and then it stopped. And I thought, that was weird, but it's not my business, not my project, so I'm working. And then my colleague comes over and he's like, oh my gosh, what did it... No, I went over, I was talking, then I got up and was talking to another friend of mine in her office. So we were standing there talking, and then this colleague who had printed the thing came over and showed us, like, look at this artwork. And it was the 11 by 17 paper with like black lines down one side, but because I guess it jammed, and so he was fishing the paper out of the jam. So I went over, and another one was completely covered in toner, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he looks at what came out. What he was trying to print was a spreadsheet from Excel, and it was a very large spreadsheet, and he told it to fit it all on one page. But what it did was it printed on 11 by 17 paper, like two little cells like this, or 3 cells, or or 1 cell, or whatever on each paper, like 11 by 17 paper, this much printing, times 100,000. I don't know. It was like, and so then it got the printer's kind of copier. The printer is messed up, and so it won't print. Like, it'll print. The guy's like, you can print on it, but it doesn't look good. It's got like those, lines like from the 80s when your copier would have it. No, but so it's giving me PTSD because I have trauma from a former job, which I will not name here, the company I worked for. But the board members at that organization were horrible. They were horrible. I mean, in my opinion. And I should take that back. It was probably just one guy. But if the board material says, they used to have like basically a copy shop in the office, right? That would do all the copying for everybody. And they would stress out so badly when there was a board meeting because they had to print all the board materials. And this guy, if there was a dot, a copier dot or anything like that, he would get angry. And apparently the legend was that he would get the board paper and a ruler in the middle of meeting when he's supposed to be doing these board member stuff. He'd measure the page numbers to see if they were in the same place on each, and so we wasted paper, and they stressed out, and it was a bad situation. And I'm like, why are we kowtowing to an aberrant personality?
Yeah,
that's the thing I said. I got a little bit of trouble for that. But this was back.
That reminds me of something of Dear Abby or something about where some woman talked about how her boss insisted that paper clips be put in a certain place in a certain way in a certain.
That's called OCD.
And there's just all kinds of stuff. That.
No one thinks. So that whole copier printing that way, if you don't care and you're just using the paper internally, whatever. But I remember telling my now boss, if you want to print something for the board meeting, don't use this printer. Because it doesn't make pretty copies. And then I'm having this stress, there's no one on our board that's going to act like that. We have good people.
When I was working as a graphic designer, we were working for a lot of engineering clients. And my boss, there were two girls. They were sisters. And one was more on the business side, although she did do some of the design work. But the other one was the one that was double checking all of our work, right? Mm-hmm. And if you had a line that didn't meet perfectly with another line or another object or something, she would look at it. She'd look at the print and go, that's not right. And you had to nudge it down one little nudge because she could tell by looking at it if it wasn't perfect. And she said, our clients will notice because of the type of clients they were. She said, they'll notice if it's not straight and if it's not lined up. And I can't tell you how many times I had to make sure that all the corners were lining up with whatever line there was.
Yep.
And at first I used to just be like, are you serious? Right?
Yeah.
But after a while, I was like, that's who they cater to.
Right.
And
very exacting, detailed people.
And you would see some of these engineers pick up their project and go, before they'd approve it, but I had one of those clients. He, the owner of the business, they would do one of the things that they would work with is something called ferroelectrics, and they were going to get ready for a trade show or something, I think that, and he wanted me to do a drawing for some project concerning that. I actually have a print of that, of what I did, but he started talking to me about the science of it, because he was supposed to be explaining to me what he wanted me to draw. So he's telling me all the science that's about this thing, and I just finally went, Joe, artist,
come
what
here.
you're doing is going like this. I said, just tell me what color it is and what it looks like.
No barking.
and so
No barking.
he did.
No barking.
And
Okay, get down.
he loved the drawing I did so much. And I think the first one was like supposed to be this big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe for a brochure or a handout or something. And they eventually made that into a gigantic trade show printout.
Oh, neat.
I had to take it to one of the big companies that, you know, would
Makes
print
those
out
giant
print out big things.
banners.
And this file was like 500 megabytes or
geez.
something. It was huge. I couldn't even like email it to them or something like that. I had
Right.
to physically take it to them on a CD.
Yeah.
And I think the final, it was done in panels because we couldn't, Photoshop would not allow me to make
Something that
make
big.
the file that big, right?
Yeah.
So I think when it printed out, it was 6 feet tall, and then with the panels, I think each panel was like 4 feet wide, and there
wow.
was maybe 3 panels. But it was that original drawing that I had drawn.
Oh,
for him.
wow. That's cool.
And so my boss printed out a smaller version of the same thing and hung it on a wall in the conference room.
Neat.
And when I was leaving the company, she said, "Take that with you."
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Take that with you because we hate you or because we love you?
because she made it and because I made it and she was nice. She actually used to give me a lot of work when I started working from home.
Yeah.
There was a woman that I used to work with when I worked at Family Life, I guess. I don't know. But she, you know, when you're printing in Excel, you can do a print area so that it only prints this one little area that you
Right.
want.
Right.
And also you can tell it, you know, if
So it
you're-
doesn't print 10,000
Yes.
sheets.
But you can also tell it to like you can cancel a print thing. It's not perfect because it'll still, you know, print whatever, you know, a certain amount, but you can, you know, you can give it all these commands to print or not print or print area or whatever. But she didn't really know that. She didn't really know how to use, you know, some of the finer aspects of Excel. But so what she would do is she had, like, I guess, a spreadsheet that she would add to, but she only wanted, you know, the area that she had just added or whatever, not the whole spreadsheet. But she didn't know how to print just the area that she wanted. And so she would send it to the printer, and then, like, whenever it had printed whatever she wanted, she would like rip the pages out of it, something weird, horrible.
Like open the
Yeah,
the
like-
paper feed or
yeah,
something. Oh
and
no!
and stop it that way instead of stopping it. And I was like, one time I was walking up, I was like, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I just wanted this area. It's already printed." And I'm like, "That's not how you do it." You know, I'm like, "Oh."
And
Well, that's
instead
just
of
the way-
asking,
Yeah,
instead
well,
of
that's just the way I
asking,
do
she
it.
just-
And well, she was in a different department, so I didn't know she was doing that until I saw her ripping the thing, and I'm like, you know, it messes up the printer when you do that. You know, it's crazy.
Well,
but
and
also,
if you don't clear a paper jam correctly,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can destroy the
Oh,
printer.
man.
yeah, and there was another woman in our department for a while that would she would send us something electronically, but then she would also print it. So it was very wasteful because
Yeah.
the whole thing was, if you send it electronically, then you don't have to print it. You know, and
you remember
and
back in the days when people would print all their emails?
that yes, I do, because when I first started working there, only my boss and me, since I was his assistant, and then our 2 team leaders, I guess, we were the only ones who had email, because all the other the customer service reps had dumb terminals, And so whenever we were, had some kind of like a memo kind of thing where we were wanting to communicate to everybody, whenever you get this order, this is what you do, whatever, we would write it in a memo on email and then have to print it and put the print on everybody's desk. And so if there was an update, sometimes they had the old email, but now you had a new email with new instructions, and so you had to make sure they were looking at the newest one, whatever. So yeah, but so we eventually all had PCs finally. But this woman would send an email to everybody about something so that we wouldn't have to print it, of course. But then she would go and print it and then give everybody a printed copy, a hard copy. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, I just had, and it was because I think she had like some kind of like OCD type problem.
Let's talk about that kind of pet peeve. For me, it is people hitting the reply all on something that you've been, if it's like a prayer request or something like that, reply all is perfectly fine. But if you're just wanting to communicate to the leader of a group or to one person in the group, you don't hit reply all.
Or when you should hit reply all and you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if it's an email or a text. Come on, man. Come on. If it doesn't concern me, do not send it to me. I get enough email. I get enough text.
Yeah.
Please stop doing that. And yet you can't say anything because they'll be offended.
Yeah.
You're like, why am I?
Or when you hit reply and you say something bad about the person who sent you the email because you actually meant to hit forward. How about that? Let's talk about that. I have done that.
It's like what is it in the
press
movie The Glass Onion, where she goes, "I'm a politician. You don't put anything that somebody might find out about. Don't put anything in writing that somebody else might find out about."
Yeah, don't put anything in email you don't want in the newspapers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That reminds me when I was in the SO, and this one guy basically got fired because he had been doing a lot of things that just like people were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you saying? Whatever." And so he finally got fired, and then he wrote an email, and he copied everybody on it, everybody in the orchestra.
No.
And he was saying, making all these accusations about he was our what do you call it? The big boss, the executive
CEO?
director or whatever. Yeah. And so he was saying, well, when I was supposed to do this, you blah, 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 and just like making up, all the stuff. And everyone was just like, oh my God.
It's embarrassing.
It was because, first of all, because everybody wanted
I'm saying secondhand embarrassment for him.
Everybody wanted him to be fired because he was a jerk. But then like all these things that he was saying.
I bet he imagined that the townsfolk would uprise in his favor and like nope, we're all just shaking our heads and deleting the email.
Well, isn't that what causes a lot of the workplace shootings and stuff like that? Is somebody getting it in their head that they were treated unjustly. And
well, sometimes you are, but air it like that.
But if you're treated unjustly, there's things in place.
Yeah.
There are things in place, like if you get fired unjustly from a job, certain types of jobs, right? You can go to certain people.
Well, yeah, but these are, but somebody who's going to come back and like kill everybody, they've got some kind of a problem going on anywhere.
I know,
because they're obviously not going to go to HR or something.
Sorry, that made me laugh.
I don't know why.
I didn't mean to HR, but the
no.
I got fired from a job because the manager of that place wanted to hide something that he was doing, and he knew that I had seen him doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the corporate office and I spoke with them, and the only solution they would give me was to go back to the same position under the same manager to give me my job back. And I said, he'll just look for another reason to fire me.
That doesn't solve anything.
I said, I said, that's okay. And then I found out a month later, maybe, he was demoted and sent to another place because
they found out what he was doing.
He was changing the inventory because his inventory was wrong. He was going in the computer and changing the inventory so it looked like he wasn't missing items.
Jeez.
And, what was happening is that somebody was stealing the stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's how you find that, is by checking the inventory. But he had gotten in trouble for inventory missing, so he decided to just change it in the computer.
Cover it up. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. And he knew that I saw him doing it because I said, "What are you doing?" and lo and behold, about, I don't know, less than a week later, I was fired. And I just decided, you know what? I don't want to work for somebody I don't like. So, yeah. But, there's...
Yeah. But you didn't send a company-wide email about it?
No.
It's so embarrassing. But at the same time, I love stuff like that.
I know.
I didn't even talk to anybody else still working there.
Yeah.
About
I know. No,
what had happened.
That's the right thing to do. But, oh my gosh, it's...
Yeah, it was... Well, it was funny because there were all these things that had happened. And there was, of course, everybody would talk about, like, oh, this guy did such and such, and he shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 whatever. And like, complaining about the way he was handling things and the way... And he was always, like, talking back to people that would, tell him, like... we had the old lady donors that would do stuff, and he would, like, I think one of them asked him something, and then he went, they went to our conductor, I guess, and said, is this going to be ready? Is that going to be ready? And then he told the conductor something like, oh, like kind of like, oh, they're just worrying over nothing, or whatever. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, but they're the people with the money.
Paying your paycheck.
Yeah, and so, it's just things like that. Like, everybody was like, kind of like, oh my God, did he really do that? And then, so when he got fired, nobody was really surprised. But that he sent that email to everybody and, like, said all these things, and everybody's like, oh my God. You don't say those things, and you certainly don't say them to everybody.
Yeah, and you don't air
your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this will fit my head. I don't think it's going to fit my head.
It'll squish your brains. In that movie that I saw, the one about the lightkeeper guys, one of the things that they talked about was I guess they were trying to eat some crab or something like that, and they were telling the guy that there was like an old man and a middle-aged man and a young man that was going out there for the first time, and so I guess when they were eating the crab, he was like trying to bang on it or whatever, and so they're like, telling him that the easier way to do it is like you put a rope around it, and then you take, like, they had like a fork or whatever, and tighten it and tighten it and tighten it. And one of the old man was saying something about how that was the way that they used to torture people. Just put this rope around their head, and you ask a question and the person doesn't answer, then you tighten it, and then you ask another question and the person wouldn't answer, so you tighten it again, whatever. And you could kill somebody that way. And so in the end, when they're fighting with these Norwegian people, whatever, that one of the guys ends up doing that and got cracking his skull that way or something. It was like, ah!
Gross.
It was a really good movie.
On that nice note. All right. On that note, I think we better sign off.
You're going down a very dark road now.
We do that often. Now I'm sitting here going, now I know that my colleague is watching.
Oh yeah.
He's going to think all these things about me.
What I thought about that with your head, your little hat. Don't squeeze your brains out.
Or like those, have you seen those videos where they take rubber bands and put them around watermelons, and the watermelon squishes in, and then they just put one more rubber band and it explodes. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah,
that's so great.
Well, it's
I was going to tell you my praying mantis story.
Oh yeah.
So I just was randomly going through videos, you know how you do, and I don't know what platform it was on. Don't ask me, but there's a video of a hummingbird feeder and this big praying mantis, you know how they can be good size like that, sitting on the hummingbird feeder, and the hummingbird came to drink from it, and the praying mantis grabbed the bird and bit it and killed it.
Oh my God.
And ate it. the person filming was like, no. It was, I couldn't believe that an insect would kill a bird like that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, and there's the dead hummingbird, and he's just sucking his insides out. It's gross.
It's like one reason
Look
why.
at Eve. She's like,
one reason why I don't watch nature
now we've
documentaries.
really taken a gruesome.
One reason why I don't watch nature documentaries is that one time I was watching one, and they were talking about like animals migrating across the savannah or something, and so there was all these herds of
don't tell that story. I know what
wildebeest
story you
and
mean.
zebras and whatever, and they were following, I guess, this wildebeest herd, and one of the baby wildebeests got separated from his mother in all this big herd of animals, and so he was bleeding, trying to find his mother, and the other wildebeests, saying, "You're not my calf, get out of here." And he was wandering around, he was lost, he was bleeding, and all the other animals didn't like that he was bleeding like that, because that would attract predators.
You don't mean bleeding, you mean
bleating.
Uh-huh.
So
crying.
like if there was a lion, the lion would think, there's a wounded animal or a vulnerable animal, so I can go and attack that. And so the other animals didn't want him around them because he would bring the predators. And so there was a herd of zebra, and they were like, trying to, get him away from him because they didn't want the noise. And so like he got really tired looking for his mother. So at one point he was laid down on the ground there, and the zebras were like would nip at him and make him go away. So because he was still crying for his mother. And so finally, he was wandering around, and so finally one of the zebras, because they didn't want to do that, he kicked him in the head and killed him. Mm-hmm. I was like, no! And so, yeah. And another one was a bunch of lions killing a water buffalo. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. I know the lions have to eat, and I understand all the reasoning behind the way animals behave, because it's survival of the fittest and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but I don't want to watch anybody killing anybody.
But you'll watch murder every
people I don't care about. People I don't care about.
Now you think you need to examine that.
Well, at least people can understand what's going on.
And
if
you like your hamburgers and chickens. That's all I'm saying.
But like I said, I don't want to see anybody killing anybody.
Just people.
I don't want to see a fox killing a bunny. I don't want to see a lion killing a water buffalo. I don't want to see that.
But people, it's okay.
I don't want to see a praying mantis killing a hummingbird.
It was just shocking.
Yeah.
That's really shocking to me.
Yeah. Well, like, think about the I guess the people who were the naturists or whatever, they were filming the wildebeest and the zebras. They said they didn't realize that zebras could be so mean like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So don't make noise around zebras.
When you're talking about praying mantises, it reminded me of there's an X-Files episode where Mulder's talking about the first time he saw a praying mantis, but he was climbing a tree or whatever, and he saw this praying mantis, and he said, I had a praying mantis epiphany or something. He goes, and I just saw this praying mantis and I let out the scream. And he goes, not a girly scream. And he had this praying mantis, and at some point later on, Scully goes, are you sure it wasn't a girly scream?
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
I like praying mantises, but they're pretty.
I have a
pretty
praying
vicious.
mantis across this pattern.
Really?
Mantis like yeah. Eat, pray, PREY. Yeah.
They're pretty vicious. Those things.
Yeah.
Well, now
They
I know
have
they
those
kill
alien
birds.
heads.
Yeah,
you know.
I love them though. I just love the way they look at you. Like, what are you talking about?
Their big eyes.
I like them.
Girls.
I like them, but now Now I know they can kill birds.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the praying mantises you see are like this.
I saw a squirrel.
big.
I saw a
You know
squirrel
what?
eating a
The
bird.
thing is
you know.
that the bird didn't think the praying mantis was a threat.
Yeah,
Because
stupid bird.
Now you know better.
Now you know better. Oh my gosh.
So if you see a praying mantis on your hummingbird feeder, run and chase it away.
Take it a while.
You don't
Can you
bring
believe
mantis.
that? I guess, and the people filming, I think they were just like, oh, there's a praying mantis there, But they didn't know what it was preying on. It's not PRAY. Maybe it was. It was, Lord, send me some food. Oh, look, there's a bird.
I don't have a proboscis to get into the bird feeder. So.
Oh my. Well, we hope you have a good weekend. Sorry about all the sad animal stories. But speaking of watching murder, we started watching Better Call Saul the other day. We found a new show to watch together, and it's so good. It's so well written.
One of the reasons why I started watching the other one, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, is because they're filmed in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I know, it's fun.
Oh, let's see how much I can recognize. And,
It's really fun. All right, well, you guys, I hope you have a good week. Thanks for joining us one more time.
Yes.
And for more nonsense and more nonsense. That's all we serve up here. So, we hope you enjoy
Stitching
it.
in nonsense.
If you made it this far to the bitter end, we know that you enjoy that. So we thank you very much. Thanks for being great subscribers. And thanks for all your comments every week. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week when you
Yes. Yeah.
have a good week. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.